The most unpopular opinions on Reddit. Part 2. Sports exist to give dumb people something to talk about. Sports are the opiates of the masses. They give people who don't like deep thought something simple to think deeply on, devote all their time and effort into, and it becomes codependent once friends and coworkers are brought in. They foster divisions within society that calcify in the mind and extend beyond sports. People will fight fans of a different sports team even though they are fans of the same sport. They hold lifetime allegiance to their team, and it doesn't change as the roster, coaching, results or anything else changes within the team, and this is seen as a virtue. Sports fans are inherently illogical with their loyalties, and this inevitably seeps into every other facet, politics included. I believe that politicians want this to be the case because it makes it easier to achieve a base of voters based on nothing but partisanship, regardless of what the party does. It's their team. It makes people more susceptible to propaganda and misinformation. It gives them less time or desire for intellectual activities like reading, gives them something to waste their money on, and ultimately provides a distraction from what is really going on in the world. Big league sports are bad. Smoke alarms should be turned on and off with a convenient switch. Getting my face screamed into at 180 dB because I'm trying to change a battery is total bullshit. My smoke detector started chirping at me this morning. No big deal, I thought, as I go to turn it off before taking it down off the wall to replace the battery. No, sorry. Too unsafe. No such option. You have to wrestle this damn thing off the wall by pushing in shitty plastic tabs while twisting the thing every which way, halfway falling off the step stool you're on. During this process the smoke alarm will be screaming bloody fucking murder at you at full volume. Good luck taking the wires out of the back with the care needed to not break them while your ears are getting destroyed. If a person is in the process of removing the smoke detector, I don't think it's unreasonable to assume that there's no fire happening currently and maybe the detector can chill for a minute. And if the tenant simply doesn't want a smoke detector, screaming at them isn't likely to change their mind. Insurance of any kind should not exist. Imagine a world where insurance did not exist. Everyone would be responsible for saving for potential emergencies. Businesses would be in competition for your business when you needed to use their services, and prices would reflect that. Everything from contractors to medical services would be priced with the knowledge that there is no multi-billion-dollar industry there to cut them outlandish checks. Individuals would be forced to practice fiscal responsibility for themselves instead of outsourcing it to a third party that doesn't have their best interest in mind. Guilt and shame are downplayed in American culture because they are counterproductive, and people only want us to be money-making slaves without conscience. I am an immigrant from a non-Western culture that guilt and shame are necessary to make people behave. And I still don't disagree. One major trend in American pop psychology and self-help business is that guilt and shame are undesirable. And even Christian leaders promote guilt-free lifestyle. That got me thinking. I still strongly believe guilt and shame are necessary for people to be more introspective. But being introspective doesn't make you a more efficient worker with maximized output. No, quite the contrary. Quite often sense of conscience and introspection can be counterproductive and don't really contribute the maximized creation of goods and capitals. After realizing this possibility, I was frozen inside. And felt hopeless. Although I am a misanthrope, all these things don't really help human race becoming more likable and worthy of dignity. Quite the opposite. I'm sick of people claiming the only way to be successful is to major in computer science and go in tech. Note that this isn't an opinion held in real life. But on here it's very common for people to act like the only way to be successful is to major in computer science or do a coding boot camp. I get that most of you are in tech or programming. But seriously, I feel like every day I see people praise computer science to the point of shunning literally every other college major, aside from maybe engineering, and accusing you of being a complete failure who is destined for poverty and misery if you don't know how to code. Just the other day there was a post saying all humanities majors are worthless and a waste of money. And in the comments you had people saying taxpayers shouldn't pay for people to go into humanities majors because it's a waste of money and the people won't make that money back. Like, are people aware you can get a good job with a humanities degree? It's quite common actually. Get off your high horses. I understand tech is a quick and easy way to get rich, but not everyone wants to go into tech or would be happy with a tech job, and there are other ways to be successful that don't involve tech. Will they take longer? Yes, they will. But not everyone who doesn't know how to write a REST API ends up a poor failure. It's disgusting to have a lot of kids. People are free to do what they want, but I find it disgusting if you have a lot of children. I don't care if they're all from the same person, different people, or whatever. The only time I don't find it disgusting is if they are adopted or you had them at the same time. Worse, some people have made having a lot of kids their personality trait, a lot of middle and upper class moms. I've been seeing short vids about what it's like to meal prep for X number of kids and stuff. If you have so many kids that it has literally become your personality, you just might have a problem. Wearing leggings as pants is inappropriate in public. When I was younger, leggings were thin stretchy pants that you wore under a dress or skirt. The trend of wearing skin-tight leggings instead of pants is bizarre. There is being body positive and wearing what you want, but you are basically wearing underwear with no pants in public. I get wanting to wear what makes you feel good and comfortable, but you're imposing your right to comfort on everyone around you by basically being pantsless in front of them. It just annoys me that you can't criticize this because there is an obvious double standard when it comes to what women and men can wear in public and get away with. There is a double standard, but it goes both ways. For women generally, it isn't considered appropriate to be topless. And at what point are clothes considered inappropriate? What was the right idea of clothing approximately? They always change. It isn't even just women going topless. Women get called inappropriate for wearing a full shirt with no bra on. Handshakes should be done away with. Handshakes should be done away with. In general. As it's simply not possible to know the other person's hygiene habits. About 1/3 of guys going to pee simply don't wash their hands. And most of those who don't wash their hands will probably use the urinal flush. And these urinal flush are dirty. Because everyone touches them after peeing and before washing their hands. And I am sure you know a restaurant or public toilets which are not hands-free. Worse is business meetings. In fact, it should not be the norm in business meetings. Because there is enough other pressure already. Sounds like something someone with a weak-ass handshake would say. French kiss greetings it is then. People with severe allergies shouldn't eat out. I work at a coffee shop and customer was allergic to the main ingredient in all teas but still wanted a damn tea, held up the line for 15 minutes to find a decent substitute. If you're severely allergic to something and don't want to have an accidental allergic reaction, why the hell would you go to a restaurant where cross-contamination happens on a daily basis, putting a risk to your own health? Heard a story about a woman wanted a dish made a certain way, I think for allergen reasons. The chef did his best to accommodate while keeping the dish as true as he could. Her partner ordered same dish without changes. Meals were served, she promptly starts picking at her partner's plate to see how different they were. Body shaming won't end until social media does. Edit, body shaming won't end at least as long as we still use social media to show off our bodies. The title is a bit shorthand, but there it is. Also, in case you think this is not unpopular, I urge you to see if people actually behave and act as if it were. You can't scroll for more than a few moments before finding selfies and other pictures intended to show off someone's body in flattering ways. People want validation and social media is a reliable and potent source of it, which is fine, except when it isn't, which is most often in my opinion. I wish more people understood that this form of self-gratification is not healthy, and we ought not to normalize it. I'm certainly glad for people that feel proud and comfortable in their bodies, but that doesn't mean they should seek pleasure from the likes and comments of friends and strangers. At best these are banal and superficial compliments, at worst these take the form of bullying and harassment. So sure, everything is fine if you want to enjoy yourself like that, but don't be surprised when you wash up confused, frustrated, and lonely because of the illusion of connection and genuine interest that social media provides. Now, there is a distinction I want to draw here. Gratification from posting things related to achievements, projects, family pictures, etc. are usually fine, but pictures posted solely for the sake of showing off someone's body are probably not a good idea. This might sound like common sense, but a very quick look at, insert social media brand here, will show that this is not the common practice, especially among celebrities, young adults, and teenagers. I think few of us, if any, are immune to the cravings for interaction and adulation that social media might provide. It's part of what motivated this post, but there are healthy and unhealthy ways of engaging with it. This is not a new or original idea. Every now and then you'll still see a handful of posts or videos out there talking about this issue. It is surprising how many people acknowledge this fundamental problem with social media but carry on as if it weren't. Sadly, that's really why this strikes me as unpopular. It feels like the end of the Truman Show, when the two security guards watch the finale, and say what else is on. Where's the TV guide? It makes more sense for people to put worst foot forward on first dates. When people start dating someone new they try to impress and hide the less desirable things about themselves that they don't like. Women try to look gorgeous or at least more attractive than they normally do on average days. This makes no sense to me. If somebody is normally slouchy and has bad table manners then let that hang out. Dating websites and everywhere on the internet, people are trying to look and be something they're not. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, then you need someone who sees all your crappiness and likes you anyway. It might take longer to get a bite on the hook, so to speak, but when you finally do, it will be a keeper. Yeah, you need someone who can accept your garbage but without scaring them off. It's a difficult game to play. The push to electric vehicles is happening too fast and doesn't really benefit the environment. I say this as someone primarily in the US, so may not be as applicable elsewhere, and also say this as someone who desperately does want the US to move away from fossil fuel usage. The vast majority of energy production in the US is from oil, coal or natural gas. The movement to electric vehicles as a method of reducing dependence on fossil fuels is a false narrative, because the vast majority of electricity produced is still coming from petroleum-based sources. Sure, I think having the option available to people is great and is a movement in the right direction, but states trying to transition out combustion engines within the next 7 years is short-sighted, as the technology is relatively new and hasn't been proven at a large enough scale to be realistic. That's not even to get into the rare earth metals that have to be mined for the batteries in EVs, which is arguably more harmful to the planet and is just as, if not more, unsustainable as fossil fuel production. Dr. Ev's great, thumbs up, in theory, but the technology isn't there yet, aren't truly sustainable, and require resources that are just as harmful as fossil fuels to be made. Thank you for listening to another episode of Aw Dear Reddit. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Also leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Have a nice day.